The president's congestive heart failure is getting worse. I'm a home health physical therapist with a doctorate in my field. I see congestive heart failure patients on a daily basis. The reason I know that he has congestive heart failure is because of the swelling in his feet and ankles. And the reason I know it's getting worse is because he's sitting behind the desk on camera now. He lashed out against MSNBC for giving him hash about his ankles. This is how we know that something is true, because it gets to Trump. Remember recently where he was talking about going to heaven for some fucking reason? He says, people said I'm not doing very well. I don't think he's talking about the media. I think he's talking about the doctors who are treating him. The only reason his health has been maintained at all is because he has the privilege of getting IV diuretics, spironolactone, Lasix, Bumex, something like that. That's why his hands have been bruised and covered with makeup. Badly, I might add. We know that it's getting worse because he knows he cannot hide the degree of swelling. That's why he's sitting behind the desk. Oh, he also has chronic kidney disease, which is also contributing to the swelling in the feet and ankles. I can't tell you how many times I have seen a patient in their home because they were hospitalized for AKI, or acute kidney injury. And the kidney injury was caused by nephrotoxic medications, namely diuretics, spironolactone, Bumex, Lasix. The president is definitely getting sicker, and we know he's not going to change his diet because he's such a fucking idiot. I think he's going to be around for 6 to 8 months tops. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
We've all seen it. President Trump's ankles are swollen, and his hand, this video was from 2 days ago, and you could see some really bad makeup covering what are obviously bruises on his right hand. And this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of thing, and it has people concerned about Trump's health.
So the president has congestive heart failure and chronic kidney disease, and he's getting sicker. Next domino to fall will be if his kidneys actually fail and require hemodialysis. There are 4 main options for placement for a dialysis port. If a port is ever placed in one of his arms, he will not be able to play golf because he'll have to wear short sleeve shirts and you will be able to see the fistula. Now, he could stop playing golf because he's just too sick to do so and doesn't have the energy to do it anymore. By the way, I don't think we've ever seen footage of Donald Trump walking or riding on the cart for 18 holes. I know he shows up on the first tee and, hits a few shots or whatever. I'm still skeptical that he even plays 18 holes at all right now. If his kidneys completely fail, he's going to need dialysis. And it is possible to live and have a mostly functional life with congestive heart failure that's managed and end-stage renal disease that requires hemodialysis 3 times a week. But he's not going to have the same schedule or energy that he had before. I've seen people ask if he would actually receive a transplant if one of his major organs does fail. That would be way more likely for someone much younger. But like many of you, I've seen House of Cards. There's got to be a Doug Stamper somewhere in the Trump White House that can get Trump at the top of the transplant list. Also, a side note for this entire situation, the people who are in elected office are entirely too old on average. There is absolutely no reason we should be watching an 80-year-old man decay on national television every day and also completely watch his mind slip as he answers questions that aren't asked and pretends that he could play professional soccer. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
More bad news for the health of the President of the United States. Some of the medications he may be taking to help manage his congestive heart failure and chronic kidney disease do have a link to worsening dementia, specifically beta blockers or antiplatelet drugs. An antiplatelet drug would be aspirin or Plavix, which is actually a blood thinner. And a blood thinner is a good guess because of the bruising they tried to cover up on his hands, which I think is just an IV injection site. But after you remove an IV, it's not uncommon for it to cause some bruising. But his injection site would bleed a lot more because he's taking a blood thinner. He might be taking metoprolol, which I love that he's taking a drug that has LOL at the end of it, because that's what Trump makes me do every day. And we've recently seen him answer questions in a roundtable with other European leaders absurdly. That woman that was talking about all the children that have been abducted from Ukraine by Russia, and he responded with, "Yeah, we did a trade deal and the White House is decorated completely with gold. I'm amazing." Or some stupid shit like that. You can look for the cognitive decline to get worse because he's taking these drugs. Now, the reason I'm going to continue to prognosticate about the president's health is because they're never going to tell anyone. We're the most transparent administration in the history of the United States. Where are the Epstein files, fuckface? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Woo, praise the Lord, everybody. The president's looking rough. Look at that bruising in that hand right there, where he gets those IV diuretics to keep his heart from backing up on him and making his eyeballs float. Speaking of floating eyeballs, you see the periorbital edema? It's also another symptom of congestive heart failure. And he looks like he dipped his face in a bag of Cheetos. Good Lord. Also, he had 3 press conferences in a single day. Why? Probably because he forgot about the first 2. That's probably what it was. And there's nobody in the White House that's going to be like, sir, do we need to do another press conference? Like, we just had one. He didn't have anybody in the White House honest enough to tell him anything like that. I'm telling y'all, his health is declining. And we're not going to hear anything about it until it's over. I'm telling y'all, I think he has heart failure. I think he has kidney disease. And I think his dementia, which his dad passed away from, is worsening because of the medications he has to take to stay alive. Looks like a man where it ain't long before he has to go on dialysis. Oh, also there's this. Who made this? I've never seen a person so universally hated. I've never seen a person with more people just praying for the end. Like, how trash can of a person do you have to be to have this kind of reaction to your health declining? Thank you for your attention to this matter.